an advocate, he is a medical marijuana patient.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you. I wanted to just say, just looked up. I was standing up here. Somebody showed me on my phone. I was trying to figure out how many people live in the state. It's well over 11 million people. That means that 10 million of them have already stated unequivocally that they want this bill passed. They want patients in the state to have access to medication, and they want to get the conversation between a patient and a doctor just between them and no one else. That's really what's going on here. When you look at this bill, and you look at the ancillary pieces to the bill, the pieces that adjust for adult usage, that's not my discussion here today. Though I don't think that should stop this bill from passing. Because just like has been set up here for now over 20 years, there have been people in this state who have been fighting on a daily basis just to have access to efficacious medication. I want to just piggyback on something Mary Jane said, because I brought it up last night. She's talking about this can right here. I want to hold this again for a second, because I want you all to really stop for a second and understand what this can is. This program started 48 years ago. The United States signed a contract 48 years ago with the University of Mississippi to grow and research cannabis. Every single year since then, every senator, every congressman you see running for office right now at the national level, they approve the funding of this research every year for 48 years. Then 38 years ago, they started a program then for 20 people. Those 20 people were receiving every single month canisters like this, 1 or 2 depending on their illness. Canisters like this every single month for 38 years. Now, it's really crazy to me. I hear a lot of people who on the other side say, we need to have more research. Really? If our federal dollars have been spent on this for 48 years and we don't have an answer by now, everybody who passed those bills should be fired. Every one of them. And then let's add something else to it. Very, very good point when she points out the fact that this is what our government grows for patients that they believe are ill. And let's remember what is the number one thing our country can't do to a citizen. It can't do any harm. So therefore, our federal government has already acknowledged the fact that cannabinoids work for patients. They have researched it. They're spending money on it. They continue to spend money on it. But the thing that's so absolutely, I believe, and I'm going to use this word once, asinine. Right here on this container is a prescription. How can a government prescribe medication and force all the other states to only recommend it? Doctors outside of these doctors at the University of Mississippi can't write a prescription. They can only write a recommendation. That's what will happen here in the state. But the federal government, for 38 years, has said unequivocally, we found something that we know works for 4 people. We are going to ensure that we grow it for them. We tax everyone in America to pay for their medicine. And we'll give it to them. And if they don't have it, we'll make sure we super overnight it to them. And when she said, Irv can take this anywhere, what's this? You can't get on an airplane with a bottle of water. Irv can walk on any airplane in the United States with this canister, with his marijuana in it. Irv could walk in this room right here, take his canister up. He can't light up in here because there's other people here. But he can go in that back room over there privately and come right back out here again. And it could be 25 police officers in this room and they can't do a thing. I step outside of this room with even a 1/10 of a gram, I can be arrested in this state. So let's just begin right there, part of this conversation. The hypocrisy, the lack of knowledge, the lack of true information, the lies that are perpetuated by 90% of people in the argument. There are lies coming from both sides. There are some people who just want to sell weed. That's not our argument. That's an argument that adults should face, and you guys deal with that. But there are people in this country who are seriously ill, sick beyond belief. We don't have the nerve to step in the middle of a conversation with one of those people and their doctor if it's any other issue but this. Ridiculous. I can use my cell phone right now. I can call my doctor back in New York because I am publicly known. I am registered. You know that I have MS. I have been dealing with everything from Oxycontin to you name all of them. I'm not going to blame those because those drugs, some of those are needed by patients. So I don't want to stop them from being able to have it. But for me, they didn't work. I took them long enough that I almost shut down my kidneys. I have damaged the peristalsis reaction in my intestines for life. The rest of my life. Now, since this movement even came close to beginning, I took a step that very few people in this country are willing to do. And there are so many of them in this country who are doing it every day, some of them not even for medical purposes. I stepped out, stepped in front of all of you back in 2000 when I was arrested in Detroit for carrying an unused pipe in my bag. That was thrown out by the judge completely and asked by the police officers. They were actually reprimanded, and not in a written way, for having even done so to begin with. Then I get busted a second time in Michigan. No, sorry, in Wisconsin, in an airport again, for a pipe in my bag. Police officers took it downstairs, scraped it, tested it, came back negative. They busted me anyway. 2 days later, thrown out with prejudice. And the entire conversation I had while I was in a little precinct holding area was with 3 police officers trying to figure out which version of marijuana would work better for their family members. So the truth to the matter is, really, this whole discussion, and I'm so happy that this initiative has been put together this way. I was asked, why do I want to come here and be involved in this? I mean, there's recreational, it's adult usage, and there's also medical. Well, why? Because if you read the 17 pages, you will see that for the first time, I think, in this country, an organization has put together a medical cannabis bill that is completely open. They told you everything they're going to do. They didn't leave out any pieces. This whole argument about whether or not there's a monopoly or a duopoly, look at the other states. New York will only have 5 grows. If Missouri passes, they will only have 10 grows. What are we whining about? Are the people whining because they don't think they're going to have access to make money? If that's what the whole conversation is about, then let's all stop for a second and get a grip. This little girl right here doesn't give a damn about anybody's money. This mom doesn't care about money. She wants to hug her child and know that she's not going to shake, know that she's going to have a little bit of dignity in her life. And who are we to deny that? I think back, and I look at cannabis in its history. And I will tell you that no one in this room has probably done that. You've not gone back and taken a look at how long have they written about marijuana as a medical agent? How long has it been discussed? How long was it used in this country? We didn't know that all of our forefathers grew it, smoked it. If you were a Mason during the Revolutionary War, you smoked it. Your tents were made out of it. Your clothing was made out of it. You ate it. In World War II, our government forced our country to regrow hemp because we banned it in 1937. And I'd like to ask a question. I got a lot of reporters in the room. I already told one, so you can't answer this one. I want a reporter in the room to tell me why marijuana is illegal.